Wowzers. What an amazing 82nd annual Golden Globes. There was so much to love about last night's award show. Like, I'm sorry it took me so long to get this out. I think I've still been riding my DemiMoore high. Like, wowzers. I mean, yes, yes, yes to that win. I mean, we're going to talk about all 15 categories, but I mean, Glazier did awesome. The speeches were phenomenal. I mean, what did you guys think? Were you guys as impressed as I was? I mean, I think we should just dig right into the categories. First off, glad I ended up changing my mind on those last minute picks because had I rode my substance high the whole way, I would have only gotten 4 right out of 15 categories. That would not be so good. However, with my changes, I did end up getting 10 out of 15 right. I feel pretty good about that. I mean, had I trusted some of my second choices, I would have gotten 13, but you know what? My own fault. And some of those, I mean, guys, like I said, 3 big surprises that we're going to talk about and 1 pretty huge snub. So stay till the end and we'll talk about that. But digging right in, let's start with the category that I think doesn't really surprise anyone and is one of 2 categories that I think the performer or movie could completely sweep all the upcoming ones. Like we're talking SAG, we're talking Critics' Choice, BAFTA, even probably into the Oscars. And that first category is actor in a supporting role for musical or comedy. Went to Kieran Culkin. Doesn't surprise us it went to Kieran Culkin. I mean, his only real competition in other award shows this season has been Clarence Macklin. And as we remember, he was snubbed by the Globes. So, you know, not much competition there. I honestly think the only person who could potentially beat him would be Guy Pearce, and that would be at BAFTA. And then we'd have to see how that would translate into the Oscars. I really just think he's going to ride it. And I mean, I know a lot of people will say, but, you know, what's the likelihood that he's going to win acting if A Real Pain doesn't get into Best Picture? I say, you know what? It doesn't really matter in a case like this when it comes to Culkin. I mean, the acting category for lead actor is stronger than supporting actor. So I just think he's got this one cinched up. And so I'm not kind of changing. Actually, that will probably be a lockdown for me now. I'm going to stay locked down to Culkin into the Oscars. So that kind of makes me feel a little bit better. I mean, we'll see. I mean, could I be wrong with, say, Critics' Choice and BAFTA? I don't think so, but I mean, crazier things have happened. Actress in a supporting role, comedy or musical. Y'all know I love me some Ariana Grande, right? Hashtag Grande Oscar win. I mean, I still do believe that, but I did switch my pick to Zoe Saldana. And the reason I did this goes back to the voting body. In this case, it's the Hollywood Foreign Press. It's more international. And as we could tell by the number of nominations EmiliaPerez got for Golden Globes, they ended up with 10, which is crazy a lot when you think about it, right? When there's only 15 categories, they got 10 nominations. Granted, 2 were in song, but still. So I think that's why I changed. Will her winning, though, now change my Oscar pick? I don't think I can do it, guys. I've been locked down on Grande since the premiere day of my seeing Wicked. I'm not going to change my mind on that. Critics' Choice, BAFTA, SAG, where that stands, I think BAFTA will probably go Zoe Saldana. Critics' Choice and SAG, I'm kind of edging towards Grande in both of those. So that one is a race. I know a lot of people will say it's not really that much of a race. Saldana's been in the business for, 20 plus years. They need to honor her. And, this is Ariana's first role and she's going to be in a sequel. I get a little pissed off about the whole sequel talk because could that be like Denis Villeneuve? Like people are like, oh, they didn't nominate him for the first one because we knew there'd be a sequel. Oh, well, then we didn't nominate him for the sequel because we knew there'd be a trilogy in there. Well, then what happens? What if the trilogy sucks, right? And then are they going to be like, well, we promised Denis we'd give it to him in the third one, so I guess we better give it to him even though the movie sucks? No, because the entire film community, especially film Twitter, is going to be enraged. Like, how do you honor somebody who had a crappy third movie? And people are going to be like, well, we gave it to him because of the overall trilogy. Well, then change the name of the award or give him one of the special awards because at the end of the day, that's not what the award is about. It's about directing that particular movie. And so I think to hold out Grande's win in Wicked Part 1 because of Wicked Part 2, which I believe has now been named to Wicked for Good, right? I mean, don't quote me on that, but I do believe it's been renamed. Like, I just think that's a cop-out answer, because then what if they end up not liking it? So, I don't know. I'm sticking with Grande, but I did get that pick right. Should we go into the first surprise of the evening for me? I mean, we'll just go right into it. Screenplay. What in the heck was that about? Okay, so Screenplay. Originally, obviously, I had The Substance. Then I ended up, changing my mind, and I went with Sean Baker for Anora, with my second choice being Brady Corbet and Mona Fastov, who I guess is his partner. Did we learn that at the Globes last night? Yeah, I think she is, which is great. I mean, if you can work with your significant other and still get along, like the guy who gave the speech with his wife for, I believe it was a TV show, and how they didn't end up killing each other. The one who lost his 50-pound tortoise, which I don't know how you lose a 50-pound turtle, but sorry, I digress, ADHD moment. But so Brutalist was my number 2. My number 3 would have been obviously The Substance. My number 4 would have been EmiliaPerez. Number 5 was Conclave, and that's who won. Like, what? How did that come? Like, what? I mean, and let's be clear, like, the writer in this was not the director of Conclave. So it's a completely, like, new kind of unknown writer. So props to that. I mean, I've told you guys, I did see Conclave. I loved Conclave. I think everybody should watch it. I think right now it is actually streaming if you have Peacock. So, I mean, I suggest everybody watch it. I don't think it's going to end up like winning Best Picture at the Oscars, because with preferential ballot, not enough people are going to vote for it being number 1 on their ballot. But I definitely see it. I mean, that's a lockdown. It's getting into the Best Picture. I mean, they have 10 slots, but it's getting in. But Screenplay, I mean, great for them. I mean, my 6th pick, the only thing below Conclave would have been A Real Pain. So, I mean, yeah, that was definitely, I mean, boom, a huge surprise to me. My screw up was definitely in this category, international feature film. I mean, I kind of knew it would go EmiliaPerez, but part of me was like hoping, like holding out hope a little bit. Like, you know what, Hollywood Foreign Press, you gave EmiliaPerez 10 nominations. And in this case, you ended up giving it comedy Best Picture win. So like, spread the wealth. Like, you got to give it to both of them. And I get it. Most of the time, if an international film is also up for Best Picture, they're going to get both of them. But is that necessarily right? Does that literally mean that EmiliaPerez is better than all of the other foreign competitors? I don't know. I thought it would be an upset. I still kind of think it could be an upset. I mean, I've got it locked down for the Oscars. I'm not going to change my mind, because once I lock something down, I mean, my ADHD brain says, nope, you cannot change. So I'm not going to change that one, but I did get it wrong. And I get it. Probably 98% of you out there being like, duh, it was going to go EmiliaPerez. I get it, guys. I get it. I'm trying to learn my lesson. The next category I got wrong. I couldn't be more happy that I got wrong. And y'all know what I'm going to say, because if you've been watching any of my videos, you know my love for the Flowster. Yep, Flow. Can you flippin' believe it? How in the heck Flow won animated feature film over The Wild Robot? I will never understand, but I guess I have to remember Hollywood Foreign Press, Golden Globes. I should have taken that into consideration. I should have gone with my heart and thinking about the voting body. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to have the same luck with the Academy, because the Academy is not the Hollywood Foreign Press, and it's much bigger, and there's no like overlap between the voting body. But I mean, shout out to Latvia. First ever time being at the Globes. They end up winning. They went out partying last night. Props to them. And I mean, the Flowster, yeah, that was awesome. My cat Dak was already yelling at me like, I told you to pick Flo, stupid. Like, I knew that Flo would win. Who can beat out cats? But, my cat Sprout then said to me, you know what? She wasn't stupid to pick The Wild Robot, because most of the times they do tend to go for the bigger box office one. So thanks, Sprout, for your love and support in that one. But I should have remembered new voting body, Hollywood Foreign Press. But awesome job, Flo. And remember, guys, don't forget to get your pets spayed and neutered. Trying to control the animal population. That's for you, Flo. The next 2 categories we're going to talk about are the 2 musical ones. Let's start with song, because that's the one that I think most people got right. Even though, according to the awards app or something, more people were picking Mi Camino than El Mal, which I really don't understand because El Mal is definitely the better of those two songs. And I mean, El Mal and Zoe Saldana in that red suit. I mean, come on, let's jam it out. That is like one of the best parts of that movie. And so, I mean, if one of the two songs is going to win, I think that has to win. I really did. Originally, my pick was Kiss the Sky by the Wild Robot. I thought that there was more kind of pull towards the Wild Robot. I don't see that now. I think El Mal is probably going to sweep the awards seasons, the next upcoming ones for song. So I guess that means I have 3 groups or categories that I think people can sweep in. I kind of forgot about song, but yeah. El Mal, it is a good song. I give it props. I mean, I think it's a little bit like Barbie last year with the Oscars. When you've got 2 songs in contention, definitely one of those 2 songs is going to win. It's unlikely that they completely snub the movie when they've got 2 songs in there, so they'll give it to El Mal. Score. Loved this. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I mean, I think Elton John might have loved it more than I did, but let's be honest. Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross winning this award was great. And the interesting thing was, a lot of people didn't have them winning score. And I've always had them winning score. Like, they were my original pick, my final pick. Like, that was one of mine that was, like, locked down. I bet BAFTA is kicking themselves because they did not put challengers on the long list for score. You just snubbed the Golden Globes winner on your long list. So good luck with that one. And that's not even my snub I was talking about, guys. That's a whole different snub. But yeah, I think Challengers deserves it. I've told you guys this from the first time I watched it into the second time. It doesn't lose its, like, just oomph to the movie. I mean, I honestly think that without that score, Challengers isn't half the movie it is. The ball, the rackets, the impression. I mean, just listen to Compress Repress for like 10 seconds.
Compress, repress, compress,
and you can just feel the energy. So you imagine that with the cinematography of Challengers. It's great. I probably should do a movie review on Challengers just for the heck of it because I do think it's a great movie. It potentially could be in my top 10 of 2024 movies. I guess we'll have to see once I lay it all out. But that was a great win. I think it's going to win Critics' Choice. I do also believe it definitely will get an Oscar nomination. It's on the short list. It's going to get in there for score, and I'll be releasing that short list episode here within the next couple days. So make sure you like and subscribe so you can find out when I drop the score short list reactions and predictions. The next category, director, was one that, yes, I did change last minute when I came off of my substance high. I ended up going with Brady Corbet. Yeah, I've been saying Corbett, and I believe it is Corbet, or that's how they said it on the Golden Globes. So I'll try to get that right from now on. But you guys know I'm really bad with, names and things like that. I'll blame it on my Midwest accent. Looking at director, I mean, once they pretty much had ousted Sean Baker for Anora with Screenplay, pretty much, everyone should have figured he wasn't going to win director. God, I did change my mind because, it got me up to my 10 wins. I do think that Brady Corbet has the potential to win at least half, if not 75% of the upcoming award shows for director. I think seeing how Sean Baker and Anora did at the Golden Globes kind of does show a future of how it's going to perform in the upcoming ones. I mean, we've got Critics' Choice on Wednesday and then SAG nominations coming up. So there are things to look forward to, but I feel Brady's only real competition moving forward will be Jacques Audiard for EmiliaPerez, and that's solely because, as we could tell from last night, I mean, one, they got nominated 10 times. They won 4 of those 10, EmiliaPerez. There's a love out there for EmiliaPerez, and I think that from reviews and things I've read, like, I ignore film Twitter. I'm not going to lie, like, I'm really bad about the Twitter thing, so I'll try to get better, gang. But I just think that there are American voters who do like EmiliaPerez. I don't think it's just a foreign thing. So that's going to be his only real competition. For right now, I really don't know who I'm going with for the Oscars. I'm going to be making my Oscar predictions here coming up in the next week or so. So, stay tuned for that. But cinematic and box office achievement to me is kind of like a duh. I mean, I don't know that a lot of people picked anything else but Wicked. I mean, I think the nearest thing to it was maybe 3% of people picked The Wild Robot thinking there was going to be an upset. I don't know how there'd be an upset in this category, but there wasn't an upset. I mean, this was Wicked's one and only win, which is pretty much what we all called. I mean, I called it. I think a lot of you guys out there called it. I think some people thought there might be a chance that The Wild Robot would end up winning this because it is the Hollywood Foreign Press, and Wicked performed amazingly at the domestic box office, but it didn't do so well internationally. Like, it just didn't have that connection to the international market like I think it thought it would have. But, I mean, cinematic box office achievement, that kind of popcorn award was made for movies like Wicked. So no surprise there. I'm pretty sure, like I said, 90, probably 8% of us, 97, actually picked Wicked. So thank God I changed my mind on actor in a lead role for comedy or musical. I ended up going with Sebastian Stan for A Different Man. He won, and I mean, thank goodness I changed my mind, because honestly, gang, looking back at it now, I should have probably picked him from the beginning. Part of me just really thought, as much as this is Hollywood Foreign Press, it's actors, so maybe actors honoring actors. It would go to Jesse Eisenberg from A Real Pain, but honestly, he didn't have a chance. And I mean, the best chance he's going to have would be SAG, Screen Actors Guild, and I don't think he's going to win that. Sebastian Stan, though, gave a great speech, and I did love how he incorporated his other movie, The Apprentice, in there. Like, hey guys, don't forget, I also starred in another great movie that's out there, because internationally, The Apprentice is getting like tons of love, right? BAFTA long list, which I know I haven't done a video on BAFTA yet. I'm trying to get them all in. Hopefully I can get that one done here soon. But guys, BAFTA, put him on the long list. They had 2 acting nominations for the Golden Globe with him and Jeremy Strong. So foreign people love it. I don't know exactly how the Academy is going to react with, Trump being elected. So we'll see. But, he made sure to slide that one in there. And he also just gave a very heartfelt speech about, society and having to be better with being uncomfortable, and how this wasn't an easy movie for him to make. So, the Golden Globe speeches, they are a precursor. They are a way for people to campaign. You have to give a good Golden Globe speech if you want to be considered for the Oscars. I mean, that is just one of the things they will tell winners. Give a good speech. This is like your free advertisement, for your consideration campaigning. And so when he gives a speech like that, it gets in the Academy's mind, and they remember things like that. So he did exactly what he needed to do, and it was a well-deserved win. He is phenomenal in the movie, and so, shout out to that. So the next one is my yes, yes, yes. So flippin' happy. Actress in a leading role, comedy or musical. DemiMoore winning for The Substance had to be the most remarkable, biggest highlight of the entire evening. And that was only halfway into the Globes. I still had half more to go, and I just was like, whoa, I can't get off this high. I mean, if you guys didn't see my short yet, I'll kind of play a little clip of it, but oh my gosh, I could not have been happier. And I get it. The Substance didn't end up winning Best Picture, Comedy, or Musical, so I kind of had to take that loss. I've always loved Demi Moore in The Substance. It was my original pick. It was my final pick. It was always going to be my pick. Nothing was going to change my mind. But after that speech, like I said, that's, her campaigning for the Oscar. I think she's got it. I am locking that shit down. Yep, I'm locking it down. Demi Moore winning the Oscar for Best Actress in a Lead Role, Motion Picture. Boom, baby. Here it is. I don't think you can deny her work. And I mean, beyond the fact that she's been in the industry, like she said, for over 40 years, she legitimately earned that role. And when you look at her compared to her other competitors, right, the other nominees that could potentially be in that category, which I'm not going to tell you my other nominees because you're going to have to stay tuned for that video. But, I mean, I don't know. For me, she's my lockdown. It's totally solid. Loved it. I know it surprised a lot of people. I hope that it was a good surprise for those of you that did not pick her. I hope you're okay with taking that loss, because you know what? You should have picked her. You should have listened to me. No, I'm just kidding. You didn't have to listen to me, but... And like I just said, I lost in the next category, Best Picture, Comedy or Musical, because I picked The Substance. I picked it originally. I picked it in my final. I wasn't going to change. Nothing could kind of pull me off of that Substance wagon. I really thought the Golden Globes are going to totally go out of the box, out of the rail, that beyond just giving Demi the win, they're going to give the picture the win. They didn't. They gave it to EmiliaPerez. I guess, again, I should have thought Hollywood Foreign Press. I mean, I was actually kind of shocked how well EmiliaPerez did last night. But you know what? Totally well-deserved. Great job on their part. But I did take the loss on there. I cannot predict that The Substance would win Best Picture Oscar. I'm just going to be happy when it gets a nomination for Best Picture. And I totally think it will. Now, whether or not Coralie gets the nomination for Director, we'll have to see, and so that's why I also haven't made that prediction video yet. All right, that leaves 3 categories, the ones for drama. Best Actor in a Lead Role Drama. I picked Adrien Brody for the final. I did not pick him originally, and that's because I thought like, oh, okay, Golden Globes, you gave Sing Sing only 1 nomination, and that was for Coleman Domingo. I thought maybe, well, okay, well, did you give him the nomination because you wanted to give him the win? And then when I did my final prediction video, I was like, you know what, Lisa, that was pretty dumb. Like, their way of being nice to Sing Sing was giving him the 1 nomination. So I did change my mind. I ended up going with Adrien Brody and then Timothée Chalamet as number 2. This is what I thought was going to be my 2 of 2 categories that someone would sweep, but I actually have 3 now. You know, I have actor in a supporting role song and now actor in a lead role. I think Adrien Brody for The Brutalist just sweeps the award ceremony going forward. I just don't know that Chalamet has enough competition in his role as Bob Dylan in A Complete Unknown to really, I mean, it'll be a race, but I don't know how much of a race. I mean, is it going to be like varsity playing JV? And not that I'm calling Timothée Chalamet JV, but when you compare, you know, Brody's role in a 3.5-hour movie that has to take a 15-minute intermission like The Brutalist, and you compare it to like a 2-hour movie that's a musical biography kind of a movie, are they comparable, right? Chalamet is probably his only, you know, competition, if you can even call it that. Again, though, upcoming awards things could steer me wrong. I don't think so. I mean, I honestly don't even see SAG or Critics' Choice going with Chalamet, unless, of course, Critics' Choice does, because they're like, you know what, Chalamet was also in the Best Picture contender Dune Part 2, so do they like basically combine it and give it to him that way through Critics' Choice? Again, I don't really think that's fair. I think each movie and each person should be judged individually, but, you know, whatever. Who am I? Just little old me. The next category, in my mind, it probably wasn't the biggest shock of the night because I still think Screenplay with Conclave was the biggest, you know, surprise shock of the night. But Fernanda Torres winning for I'm Still Here and winning Actress in a Leading Role, bravo, bravo. I mean, phenomenal. She's an amazing actress. And again, good job, Hollywood Foreign Press. Way to, you know, honor international actresses. The Academy should probably start doing that more. They don't tend to honor performers that are in international films. I think the Academy just kind of figures, well, we give you international and like occasionally we dabble in screenplay, you know, or not just international film, but we give you, you know, Best Picture up in there. But when it comes to performers, they kind of tend to alienate the international films. Could Torres be the one outlier this year? I don't know, because that 5th spot for actress is still so, you know, up in the air. Not that you know where I'm at yet, but I mean, I just think any critics or anything you read, there's a lockdown 4 with that 5th kind of just being like, psh, throw a dart, pick one. All of the actresses this year are phenomenal, but this was that one category that I was still kind of going off of, well, not really my substance high, but just a high of like, oh my gosh, Golden Globes, way to like honor people that like normally wouldn't get honored. And this was the one where I thought maybe they would give it to, you know, Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl. I did change my mind in the finale video, except for what I changed it to was Nicole Kidman winning with number 2 being Angelina Jolie. And then so when neither of them won and it went to Fernanda Torres, I was like, mind blowing. I mean, well-deserved in her speech. Is her speech going to be enough to make the Academy be like, you know what, maybe we need to start honoring international performers that are in good international films, like I'm Still Here out of Brazil? I mean, It's obviously a good movie. It's obviously well-deserved. I loved her speech, though, and the shout out to her mom, because she said how she was the second Brazilian actress to ever be nominated for a Globe and the first ever to win. The first Brazilian to be nominated in this category was her mother. And so there's some video online showing her mother.
Fernanda.
And just the emotion when there was that shout out there. So props to her. And I mean, Fernanda Torres, you got the message on how to campaign because, dude, that speech, killer. Killer, killer. So that only leaves the one category, right? Best Picture for a Drama. Went to the 3.5-hour pick, The Brutalist, Obviously, I did end up getting this right when I switched it. I did originally think A Complete Unknown would win because of early reviews and Timothée Chalamet's popularity. I thought the 3.5 hours might kind of go against The Brutalist, which I think it still might when it comes to the Academy and the Oscars, because there's obviously way more people voting in the Academy, and will they actually be able to sit and watch a 3.5-hour film? And I mean, is it going to be a one and done kind of watching movie like with Schindler's List? But Schindler's List did win Best Picture. So when we think about the subject matter, long movies, where the Academy goes, I mean, Oppenheimer was long. That ended up winning. So The Brutalist definitely has a chance to take home the Oscar. But what we have to remember is, and I think I told you guys this right away when we talked about Golden Globe predictions, Golden Globe split it, right? They've got Best Picture Comedy Musical and Best Picture Drama. Well, with the Academy, yes, there's 10 options and they're combined, but now you got EmiliaPerez competing against The Brutalist. What does that do? And thinking about going back to the Conclave screenplay, amazing, surprise of my night, my number one surprise of the night. How does that work when we go into the Oscars? Because they'll split adapted and original screenplays. So will Conclave win adaptive, and then this is where they're going to be like, okay, Anora, sorry we screwed you. Sean Baker, here you go. You're going to get original screenplay. Probably, possibly, I don't know. I still have to make my predictions. I'm still weighing all my options there and trying to see more of the movies because I do live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I am definitely limited to the movie availability that I have, but thank God for streaming and being able to buy movies on Prime. So good job, Amazon Prime. Brutalist won. I ended up picking it. Not entirely surprised, but I mean, a little surprised just because of the length of the film. And I don't know if Brady did the best thing by basically calling out distributors and producers and things and being like, director always gets final cut. It's up to the director. And that was basically his way of saying, well, like he said in the speech, hey, everybody told me this wasn't distributable. Nobody wanted to watch it. Nobody was going to sit through 3.5 hours. And he basically was like, I've spent 7 years of my life, which I don't even know if he said 7 years in his speech. I'm just telling you guys, he spent 7 years trying to make this film. So crazy. I mean, I get what he was trying to do was basically say, hey, producers, distributors, believe in your directors more. You've entrusted them to make this movie. Let them make the movie the way they want. But for a lot of people, 3.5 hours is not something they're willing to do when it comes to the normal, everyday, viewer. Cinephiles will sit through it. The Academy, as much as they're part of the Academy, a lot of them aren't necessarily cinephiles. So is this something they want to necessarily sit through? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see when it comes down to the Oscars and where I make my prediction. But there it is. The 15 categories, their winners, how I did, how I think that's going to impact future races. I do have to call out, though, if we look at who the biggest winner of the night was, right? People are like, oh, EmiliaPerez, they walked away with 4 wins. Yes, they did, out of 10 nominations, which really 9 categories because you can only win one of your 2. But they actually did end up percentage-wise coming out the biggest winner. So I know my cousin would be so happy I did math this time. Their percentage is something like 44% then if you go with the, 4 out of 9 categories. And The Brutalist is just slightly behind with 3 wins out of 7 nominations with a 43%. But if you did and you counted their whole 10 nominations, then yes, they're less than The Brutalist at 40%. But I can't count 10 nominations when it comes to percentages because you got 2 nominations in one category. But great job. We're at the point I love in any nominations or award ceremony, surprises and snubs. I already pretty much gave you guys my 3 surprises, right? I mean, Flow, which, yes! Oh my God, love Flow. That is definitely, just telling you guys, on my top 10 of movies in 2024. It's probably even going to be in my top 5, like maybe even my top 3. I don't know. We'll have to like relook at the list, but that was the one surprise. Then we got Fernanda Torres for the actress in a leading role drama, and then the biggest surprise of the night was Screenplay going to Conclave. The biggest snub of the night was Anora. I can't imagine how that group felt after the Golden Globes. Anora had 5 nominations, and there for a while, and still even up through right before the Globes, a lot of people were still picking Mikey Madison to win lead actress. And here you had 5 nominations and you won 0. Yeah, they got snubbed entirely. I literally, like I said, I had them winning 1. I had them winning screenplay. I really thought they wouldn't snub Anora. They did. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's just because people are like, the movie's good, not great. I don't think that's what it is. I think it is one of Sean Baker's best movies. I also, even in comparison to non-Sean Baker films, I think it's a great movie. I think the topic is getting to people. I don't think they know how to honor a film that's about a sex worker. I'm going to do an entire review on Anora, whether you guys want it or not, because I think there's a lot of things that we have to dissect in that movie, and for that reason, I feel that's why it got snubbed, and I think, unfortunately, it's going to continue to get noms, but it's not going to get the wins, so we'll see. I could be wrong. I think that the topic and the subject matter, people don't want to honor it with wins, but they're like, we can't ignore what a great movie it is, so we'll give you the nominations, and that'll make you feel good. Anora got on 9 of BAFTA's long list, and I haven't really had a chance to dig into the long list yet, that Anora gets at least 7 BAFTA nominations. Will they get any of those wins? I don't know, and I would really like to know what it is that's stopping people from voting for it. Is it just that the competition is so fierce? Is it that they don't think it's a good movie? Or is it the subject matter? What do you guys think? Why do you think Anora isn't getting the wins like everyone predicted it to get in the very beginning? Let me know in comments. Like, I really want to have a conversation about this because I'm curious why Anora isn't performing as well as everyone predicted. Let me know. Please make sure to like and subscribe. All of the films, all of the categories through my Oscar-obsessed ADHD point of view. Thanks for joining, and until next time.